Good morning, y'all. This is Tanisha, and welcome to the Bird Spot. Today, we are having lentil peas for dinner. If you guys haven't had lentil peas, let me tell you, it is a good substitute for meat, but today we are having meat. We are having actually some pigtails and some pork chops. As I was in the grocery store, I saw this very delectable sounding rice, garlic, and olive oil jasmine rice. So I definitely want to try it, and I want to pair it with my lentil peas. For those of you guys that have never eaten or do not like the sound of pigtails, trust me, these bad boys are freaking delicious. They just take a little long to cook. If you have a pressure pot, it will not be too long, but they are delicious. You have to cook them a couple of times just to boil some of the salt out, because they are salted just to preserve them, but they're actually really good. I'm gonna have, I'm gonna pair them with some smothered pork chops, and these are my fresh veggies that I'm gonna add to my lentil peas. As always, I have my fresh fruits and vegetables. I think that's what I'm gonna cook for breakfast this morning. But let me go ahead and start prepping for dinner. So today we are having lentil peas with salted pigtails, jasmine rice. I think I'm gonna do these smothered or fried. I don't know. Let's see how I feel as the meal comes together. And of course, we always gotta have a fresh fruits and vegetables to complement our entire meal. So I'm gonna go ahead and start my prepping, and I will come back and I'll show you guys the process of cooking the lentil peas and how to make my salted pigtails. Come back to you guys soon. Bye. Okay, so the first thing you are going to do, you're gonna open your lentil peas. You're gonna pour it in the pot just enough for whatever you're gonna cook for the day. It's only 3 of us in the house, so we really don't cook a lot of food, and I don't like to have leftovers, so I just really just cook for the day. So this is just how much I'm gonna put in the pot, because once you put the veggies and everything else in there and you add the pigtail, it actually going to swell up. So this is just not only gonna be all you're gonna have. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse these out, wash them out. The ones that float to the surface, those are the ones that are not good, so you can throw those out. And the ones that sink to the bottom, those are the ones that you're gonna put your water in it. You're gonna season your water, and those are the ones that you're gonna boil until they are tender. Let me go ahead and rinse these bad boys out, put the water in, and I'm gonna come back to you guys, okay? Okay, so now I'm rinsing these bad boys out. And I don't know if you can see. What I meant, the ones that float at the top. I don't know if you can see some of these bad boys that are just, okay, right there. You see those ones that are floating at the top? Those are good to just pour out, because those are not all the way chucked. So those are good to pour out. And the ones that are left, those are the ones that we are cooking. Okay. Okay, so I just rinsed my lentil peas out. I put enough water just for it to boil, because you definitely don't want to put just a little bit of water, and you don't want to keep pouring more water over and over into it. But you definitely want to put enough water in it for it to soften up. You know, you want to let it cook for about 15 to 20 minutes, and then check to see the consistency that you want. Because remember, we're still adding vegetables, and we're still adding our pigtails to it. So it still needs a minute to cook. I'm gonna put some garlic in it while it's boiling, just for the garlic to actually get in all the way into the peas. And once it's almost soft, I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with all the fresh veggies, add my pigtails, let it cook a little bit, and then we're gonna hit it with a little bit of fresh tomatoes and tomato sauce to make our sauce. So I'm gonna cut the stove now on high, and I'm gonna let these bad boys just cook for the next 20 minutes, checking on them, because you do not want them to stick to the bottom of the pan. Okay, let me go ahead and prep my pigtails, and I'm gonna show you guys how to prep those, how to cook them, and how to add them to the lentil peas. Okay, come back to you guys soon. So I'm ready to cut my veggies to put in there. Remember, this is culantro. This is cilantro, two different ones. The culantro has a very, very strong taste. And to be honest, I love it a lot more than what I like the cilantro, because this culantro give it this really strong herb-like taste. You know, you definitely have to have an acquired taste for it. A lot of people don't like it because it is too strong, but I don't have a problem with it. So that will be your judgment, how much you want to put in it. You can taste a little bit of it. If you are like a cilantro lover, it wouldn't make you no difference how much you put in it. But if you are not, you definitely want to be careful with it, because as I said, it has a much stronger flavor and taste than the cilantro itself. I have my peppers. You can use any color peppers. I only had green peppers, so that's exactly what I decided to cook with, because I did not want to go to the store. And as you guys know, I am the type of person that whatever we have, that's what we're cooking. I like to cook my vegetables, well, I like to cut my vegetables pretty big, because I don't only like to see them in my food, I actually like to taste them. If you don't have vegetable eaters in your family, you can always cut them really fine. I don't, because we actually love veggies in this house. I have my white onion. I love onion with everything. Onion just give it that extra flavor that you need in your food. And once again, this also goes to for all of the other veggies. If you don't have veggie eaters in your family, you can always go ahead and cut them much smaller and try to hide them in your food that way. But let me tell you something. The lentil peas already have a really nice flavor and consistency to it. But once you add these veggies, let me tell you something. As I said, you can actually use the lentil peas for your protein instead of any meat, and just pair it with some rice or whatever. I am a big soup maker, so you can actually make a lentil pea soup, and that will be also so delicious. So you can play around. Lentil peas is one of those veggies that is not like red beans, you know, that you can put it in some rice. You can make chili with it. You can make so many things. Lentil peas is kind of more like exclusive to either soups or rice. You can make it with some rice. You can actually make the lentil peas and the rice together, or you can just make it like a stew, like I'm making right now. So here I got cut up my cilantro. I got my culantro, my peppers, my onions, my cilantro. I had a little bit of red onions that I found in the fridge. So I'm gonna go ahead and add these bad boys in here as well. And I also have a couple of green onion roots that I'm gonna use as bad boys, just because I did not want to waste them. And since they was already in the fridge, I decided, why not? Let me go ahead and just add these in here as well. So I got my veggies prepared. I have my lentil peas cooking on high for the next 20 minutes. I'm gonna keep checking on that. Once that is done, I'm gonna go ahead and put the veggies in there, because it's already cooking with the garlic. And I'm gonna go ahead and let all the lentil peas pick up the flavor of the vegetables. I'm gonna season it with a little salt and pepper, just to taste, because remember, the pigtails are salted. So you want to boil enough salt out of them to not make your food extremely salted, but you do not want to boil all of the salt out of them, because the salt gives them that little flavor that you want. Okay, so my lentil peas have been cooking for the last 15 minutes. Let me show you what I was talking about when I said how you can tell that they are cooked. Okay, so here you can see the lentil peas, and you can see how you can mush it. You see this? This one is not all the way cooked, but this one, it is burst. And you can see how easy it is to mush it. That's how you know when your lentil peas are cooked, okay? So now, these bad boys are almost cooked. I don't want to cook them all the way till they are completely mushy because I still have about 30 to 45 more minutes to cook this with the veggies and the pigtails and have everything just seasoned and settle real good. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna add my cut up vegetables to my lentil peas so that can cook. I was in the middle of cutting my tomatoes and I didn't finish. So here you go. I'm gonna add my culantro, my peppers, my onions, my cilantro, my tomatoes. I am adding them all to this. And to be honest, if you don't eat pork, you can just make the stew, add a little tomato sauce to it, and just have this be your protein as far as your meat or whatnot. Or what you can also do, you can use like stew meat. Like if you want to do like a real stew, you could add some stew beef to it. Or you guys know I'm a soup type of girl. You can actually just add some more water to this, add some bouillons, and let it cook. And then you can have some lentil peas and vegetable soup. Quick and easy. So this is what it looks like with all my veggies in. So I'm gonna let this continue to cook. What I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna put my stove on medium. I'm gonna cover it. I still have about 6 more minutes on the 15 minutes that I put my pigtails on. I'm gonna let these cook in here, the veggies, until they get a little soft. Check back with my pigtails, dump that water out, make sure it's not too salty, cut them up, put them in here, cover it, put it on low, let it cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. Then I'm gonna start the seasoning process. And when I say seasoning, I mean you're gonna add a little more garlic if you need a little more garlic for flavor. You definitely don't need any salt because of the pigtails are already salted. But if you need a little pepper, if you need a little ginger, you know, whatever you need to put in it. Because what we are gonna add to it, I'm gonna add some sofrito to it, just to give it a quick flavor. You don't have to if you don't want to. You know, you can just stir fry your veggies instead of putting them in them raw, and they will develop this nice flavor. And if you put a little bit of garlic in them, a little bit of salt and pepper, it will give you almost the same flavor as the sofrito. But since today we just wanted to cook something fast, I really didn't want to go through all of those steps, so this will cut off your time really quick. I'm gonna finish it with some tomato sauce. And also, if you didn't want to add fresh tomatoes, you can add the diced tomatoes. I just like the fresh tomatoes myself because I like the big chunks of tomatoes and veggies and onions and everything when I'm eating my food. So it's up to you what you want to do, what's your comfort level, and how quick you want to make this meal. This meal can actually be pretty quick. You can actually start to finish this meal from the beginning that you started to table in about an hour. If you really want to push it. If you want to make the stew with the beef, you can go ahead and cook the meat at the same time as you cooking the lentil peas, and you can just add it to it, and that you can have your stew beef that way. Or what you can do, you can put the bouillons, as I said, and you can even take like a Lipton soup if you want to have some noodles, and you can make some soup too. So literally, this can be from start to finish, from stove to table in about an hour. This is a quick meal for a nice cold day because this is so hearty and it will fill you up for the rest of the day. Trust me. Let me go ahead and I just hear this beeping. Let me go ahead and check on my pigtails. Check those bad boys out. Make sure the consistency is right. Come back in here and I will show you how to add them to this. Add your sofrito. Finish it off with your tomato sauce. I prefer like the seasoned tomato sauce because it just makes your meal so much tastier and you really don't have to add a lot of seasoning to it. And then I'm gonna hit it with some garlic because I am a garlic and ginger fan. Let me go check on these pigtails and I'll come right back. Okay, so my pigtails are done. Dun, 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 dun. They're nice and soft. So what I'm gonna do now, oh, I already cut them. So I'm just gonna add them to the lentil peas. Look at this deliciousness. And that I haven't done anything yet to it. I already have my tomato sauce open. So I'm gonna go ahead and add my tomato sauce to this. I had a half that I found in the fridge, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that half too. Let me go ahead and stir this up. Let me tell you, you just cannot imagine the smell in this house right now. You can have the same smell in your house if you follow these steps. Make your own little pigtail and lentil pea stew. Oh, as I said, you can add beef to it if you don't want to do pigtails. You could add some water, a little more water, but you definitely want to use a bigger pot, a deeper pot, and put some, you can actually put some chicken if you want to be honest. You can make chicken and vegetables, or just beef, and just take a pack of noodles and put it in there, some bouillon, and you can just make your own lentil peas and veggie soup. Let me tell you, oh my geez, it smells so delicious. Oh, let me go ahead. Let me tell you, remember I told you that this sofrito will work too? So we are just gonna add a little bit of sofrito to it. It's up to you how much you want to add to it. You know, you can taste it, and if you think it needs a little more, you can do that. I don't recommend putting a little bit in it. I don't recommend putting a whole lot in it. That's what I meant to say, because you don't want it to be bitter and you don't want it to be too chunky. Remember, this is like just like a delicious stew that is just gonna go over our rice. Look at this. I cannot wait to eat. I'm telling you right now, in all honesty, I cannot wait to sit down and chop down. I haven't had pigtails in so long, and I'm looking forward to this jasmine rice and some pigtails too. And some pigtails too. Don't forget the rice that we are using today is this little rice right here that I found at the grocery store. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to it. It looks like it's gonna be pretty delicious, and it looks like it's pretty healthy too. So I'm gonna go ahead and try this one, and I'll let you guys know how it tastes, and if you guys wanna try it, or you could just try a regular white rice. It really will make no difference. Okay, so I'm just gonna let this cook on low for the next 20 to 30 minutes. Come and check it again, because right now all we just doing is just letting all the flavors come together, because the pigtails are cooked, the veggies are cooked, and the lentil peas are cooked. So what we're doing now is just blending out all those flavors together. So that's why I'm simmering it for the next couple of minutes, to just let all of those different flavors just come together. What you can do as it's cooking, you can come in here and just open it and taste it a little bit and check to see if the flavors are exactly what you needed, and add a little bit more flavor, a little bit more garlic, ginger, whatever you need to add to it to get it to the flavor that you are looking for. Okay, I'm gonna let this continue to cook and then I will come back with the rest of the meal. Okay, so I have my pork chops washed and ready. I'm gonna add a little ginger. You guys know I love me some ginger. I'm gonna add some ginger to this pork chops. I'm gonna make a little quick marinade for these pork chops. I'm gonna leave them in the fridge for about 2 hours before I cook them. I have some crushed rosemary. I introduced the hubster to rosemary, and let me tell you something. This man, all he does is cook with rosemary. I have created a little monster. A little crushed red peppers, just for a little kick. You don't really have to add a lot if you don't want to make it spicy. Of course, I'm gonna add my minced ginger to it. Let me tell you something about ginger. There's something about the smell, the flavor, the taste. Oh, ginger me with love. I'm gonna add a little sazon. You know, us being Hispanic and all, my daughter, she loves sazon. And to finish it off, I am going to add some orange juice. And that's what I'm going to marinate my pork chops with. I'm adding some high pulp orange juice to the pork chops just to give it that extra a flavor as it marinates with the ginger and the rosemary. And let me tell you something, this is going to be fantastic, to say the least. Ginger and orange juice, oh, your stomach is gonna be thanking you later, because you know ginger aids in digestion, and the orange juice just gives it that little cozy flavor. If you have issues with GERD or acid reflux or anything, I would not recommend you use the high pulp orange juice, because it would definitely mess your stomach up. So you see, my pork chops are seasoned and marinated. I'm gonna go ahead and put a top to this, put them in the fridge and allow them to chill for the next 2 hours. Check these out, and we still have not decided how do we want to cook this, but we still have at least 2 hours to decide. So here's the end result. I'm gonna go ahead and put these bad boys in the fridge, and we'll come back with the rest of our meal. Hey y'all, so I am back. That that you hear in the background, that is the sound of my oil sizzling, ready for this delicious pork chops that have been marinated. It's been about 3 hours now, and look at these bad boys, seasoned all the way through. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop them in and look at these bad boys, seasoned all the way through. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop them in the hot oil. Oil. Hear that? You want your oil to be hot, because no one wants some greasy and oily pork chops. Because if the oil is not hot enough, your pork chops will start, sucking up all of that oil in the pot, and you definitely don't want that. With them, I'm just gonna make a little red sauce where I'm gonna use some tomato sauce and just some fresh cut vegetables. Frying my pork chops. I'm gonna use the same pot that I fried my pork chops in, and I'm gonna add some potato, some onions, some peppers, and a little culantro, just to refry it a little bit. because this is what I want my pork chops. Nice and brown. These have been marinated for about 3 hours in the orange juice. So you already know, you can tell, look at this beautiful color. It's a little caramelized on the sides and it's really nice and soft in the middle. And I know definitely once the water gets to them and that orange juice starts seeping out in this concoction right here with your veggies, it's gonna absolutely be delicious. So what I'm going to do now, I'm gonna put my pork chops in the pot with the veggies. I'm gonna add some water. I'm gonna cover it. I'm gonna cover it for about 5 to 6 minutes and let the potatoes and the onions and the peppers fuse with the pork chops. And then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna put the tomato sauce in it and I'm gonna cover it for the next 10 to 15 minutes. You don't have to cook it for that long, to be honest. 5 to 10 minutes is good enough because the pork chops are already cooked and the veggies, all you're waiting right now is for the veggies to cook. So however long it takes for the veggies to cook, that's how quick you can eat. And it also depends on how soft you want your pork chops to be, because I literally want them to be breaking apart, just falling apart, you know, that you can just touch them and they just melt in your mouth. So I like to cook mine for about 20 to 25 minutes just on low and just allow them to simmer and soften up, and it's just all the sauce, all the tomato sauce, all the different flavors just blend perfectly in it. Oh my geez. You know, so what I'm doing right now, I'm just getting some water to add water to the pot. Allow these flavors to fuse. And I'm gonna tell you something. Don't be afraid of all of this. All of this right here is seasoning. All this is seasoning. All this little, what you will look at imperfection on the sides is your base. This is, let's call this your roux. Remember, this is the oil with all of the flavors, all of the seasoning, the marinade that you marinated the pork chops with. So all of this is just delicious flavor that you are adding to ultimately your gravy per se, because that's what we're gonna use to actually smother. Let me go grab a little bit more water because you actually want to fill it up over. You want to definitely put it over because you want it to have, let me say, you want it to have enough steam in it to cook the pork chops and the veggies real quick. So let me go grab a little bit more water. I don't know how many of you guys have a home phone, but we do. And let me tell you, I have no idea why we have a home phone. That phone rings all day, every day. Nobody ever answers because you know it's a telemarketer calling you about some extended warranty to some vehicle that never existed in your life. So that is one of those things that I absolutely hate about having a home phone. But I have a nice little funky payphone in my house. So that is basically the only reason why I actually keep the line, because when people come, they'll be like, oh, is that a real phone? Yes, it is a real phone. So everybody wants to go in there and listen to it and see if it has a dial tone like a regular phone. So that's why I have it. So you guys can see that I have a nice, cool phone. Okay, so as you can see, I added my water to cover my pork chops. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it up in between medium and high. I'm gonna cover it and I'm gonna let this cook. Okay, so my pork chops have been cooking for the last 15 minutes. And as you can see, these potatoes are, look at these. They're just so nice and soft. I put enough water in there to have enough gravy, because whenever you add your tomato sauce to it, you want to cover it and allow some of this to thicken. And as it thickens, it's not going to be this, first of all, it's not going to be this watery, and it's not going to yield as much. My pork chops are nice and soft, and they are falling off the bone right now. So I'm going to add my tomato sauce to it. After I add my tomato sauce, I'm going to actually let this simmer on high for about 2 to 3 minutes, just for all the flavors to actually seep into it and the tomato sauce get distributed throughout the entire pot. Then I'm going to cover it back up, and I'm going to let it simmer on medium for the next 5 minutes, and then I'm just going to put it on low for the next 10 minutes. Since we are not getting ready to eat right now, it's enough time to let the pork chop get so soft that literally it will just fall apart in your mouth. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cover it. I'm gonna cook it on high for, as I said, for the next 3 to 5 minutes, stirring it up, because you do not want your water to stick to the bottom of the pot, because then it's gonna be a little burnt, and you definitely don't want no burnt. Okay, so as you can see, look at my pork chops. This gravy is nice and thick. The potatoes are nice and soft. All of those veggies are nice and soft. These pork chops right now are falling off the bone. They have been cooking for about the last 7 minutes, to be honest. I had it in medium, and I just cut it down to low. So these are done. I'm gonna go ahead and cover them, and just let them stay there and simmer until I get my rice together. Remember, we are doing this little garlic and olive jasmine rice. It says right here that it actually cooks in about 90 seconds, but they say you have to serve immediately. So I'm gonna go ahead and make my salad that's gonna go with our meal. Then I'm gonna cook the rice, and then I'm gonna come back with the meal plated. And oh, I have to go back to show you guys what my lentil peas ended up looking like. So I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my salad. I'm gonna go ahead and hit those beans so you guys see what it looks like, and then we are done with the pork chops, and we're gonna go ahead and start plating. Okay, see you guys soon. Bye. Okay, so here is what my lentil peas stew ended up looking like. Look at this. Look at this delicious thickness right here. This is ready. You can actually put this on some white rice. You can, as I said, you can add some beef. If you have like some beef cubes, you can pre-cook them, and then you can add them to this, and you can have like a what do you call it? What do you call that? When you upcycle. Yeah, it's like an upcycle meal. You can put the beef in here. And to be honest, if you want to, you can take some water. You can put like a whole lot of water. You probably got to change the pot. Get a deeper pot. You can put some more water in there. Go back, taste it. See if it needs any more seasoning, as far as like garlic or salt and pepper, whatever. And you can have like a little soup, like a vegetable and lentil peas and pigtail soup. The possibilities. My peas are done. My pork chop is done. I already pre-made my salad. So all I have to do now, as soon as the rice is over, I'm just gonna go ahead and plate this, and so I come back and show you guys the plated version of this delicious and hearty Wednesday meal. Okay, see you guys soon. So here is the end result plated. I have my smothered pork chops. I got my rice. I cook it for the 90 seconds per the instructions on the bag. Here's my pigtails and my beans. The beans are nice and soft. Here I made a quick salad for my husband. I have baby arugula. I have some nuts in there, and I have some fruit. Well, I have some berries and some pears. And here is the final presentation of the Hubster's plate. And I'm gonna use some basil base dressing for the salad because I don't want to overwhelm it, all the different flavors in it. Look at this deliciousness. This can be you. This can definitely be you. From start to finish, about an hour if you have everything together. Once you see this video, you're gonna see that you can actually start prepping and making everything at the same time, and it would actually cut down on your time from start to table to eating to dishes. Look at this. Yummy.